Hi, welcome to our live right here on Instagram. In just a moment, Allegra will be joining me. And I wanted to say hello and let you know who I am. I'm Natascha. Like I said, Allegra will be joining me in just a moment. And the two of us together are Beyond Your Wildest Dreams, BYW Dreams. Yeah, yes, go live with Allegra. Yes. We are committed to, our mission is to make sure that you find a way to prioritize yourself, save time, and achieve your goals. That is our number one purpose. That's what we're all about. And that's what we're here to do every Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And Allegra has joined us. Yay!
Yay! I am here. And as she mentioned, we want you to prioritize yourself, which we have a book about that I have lent out recently. So I don't have a copy. It's called Rock Your Morning, and it's all about helping you set up a morning ritual. And then in terms of helping you save time, we have this short read workbook, and all of our books are short read workbooks. And I have to turn down one of my headsets here because it's echoing in my ear. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, done. And this is all about teaching you a strategic framework to approach your to-do lists, whether it's personal or professional. And then we have to help you achieve your goals, we have our 2-day life design, habit formation, time management course called Harness the Power of Planning. And it's happening in January 2024, January 20th and 27th. You can sign up now on our website. And if you wait till the end of the live, we'll give you a special code. But we also have a couple other books that are just kind of things that our alumni have told us, things that they struggle with. And so we try and break out, these little bite-sized pieces to teach you these strategies, these brain science-backed strategies for thinking strategically about your life and your to-do lists and your holiday planning. Right. So
yes.
This is our newest book. It just came out, Rock Your Holidays. The ebook is 99 cents. So I'm going to can you type a link in while I'm chatting about it? It's
totally
tinyurl.com/RY holidays, tinyurl.com/RY holidays. And what we teach you to do in Rock Your Holidays is what we're going to walk you through is we're going to help you brain dump everything you want to do. And then we're going to help you prioritize it, because a lot of the struggles with fitting everything in is when you treat everything as the same importance. But everything is not the same importance, right? There's some things that are emergencies and there's some things that are just another Tuesday. And we help you come up with a system for that. And then we help you break some of the bigger holiday things down into all of their steps. For instance, hosting a family dinner, that's not just one thing on your calendar. That is multiple grocery trips. That is sending out invitations. That is deciding if you even want to have people over for a family meal. So there are a lot of steps, and people don't take that into account. They think, oh, it's just one thing. Why does it feel so big? It feels so big because it is so big. It's not just one thing. So the final step is we help you calendar in all these different steps so you can recognize how much work it takes, and maybe even say to yourself, you know what? I've got to work on the family dinner, so I'm not going to, go see the lights down the street or something like that. We help you figure out those trade-offs. And as I said, it's only 99 cents. It'll take you about an hour to go through and save you minimum 10 hours of time on the back end because of streamlining.
You don't want to be stressed out. I mean, there's so much there's so much like societal or cultural agreement around being stressed out for the holidays. And that's because it can be a really stressful time, but we really are committed to having less stressful time ourselves and then sharing with you how we manage that. Is it zero stress? Probably not. That's a huge claim. That's a huge claim to make.
Right.
But less stress and more enjoyment for you. Honestly, focus more on the fact that it's more enjoyable for you, because chances are, if you are in the parental spot, you are taking on a lot of the magic making responsibilities to make the holiday magical for others, the holidays magical for others. And so you should be able to enjoy yourself too.
Yeah, you should get some magic too.
What's that?
You should get some magic too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we give
Mhm.
you we give you also, besides 3 steps that we walk you through, we also give you some tips for managing the expectations of the holiday. So some out of the box ideas, some, sharing the weight ideas. So lots of ideas in Rock Your Holidays. And you know, I don't know if you know, but there's actually a positive type of stress. There's actually a word for that. It's eustress, EU stress. And I've never heard this. I only learned this word like 5 years ago or something. But there's some things that you take on because you enjoy the final process or you enjoy the growth process. And yes, it feels a little uncomfortable, but it isn't necessarily a negative stress. So, you might still feel some stress of the holidays, but I always think about like, well, did I choose to do this thing? Yes, I chose to do this thing. Do I want the final product? Yes, I want the final product. Okay, well then I'm not going to feel negatively or resentful about it because I chose to take
Right.
it on.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, for sure. Because we can get caught, it's so easy to get caught up in the complaining aspect of it, right? It's like,
Yes.
but if you focus on like, well, I did choose this. I do want this. I want this, so it's like, okay. And it's not so much like you made your bed, now lie in it. It's more like, okay, just this like a shift in perspective of like, all right, it takes something. This is a
Right.
thing that's worth it. And it takes something to have it, be it, get it, experience it. It takes something. So
Exactly.
here we go. We're going to
Exactly.
do it. Yeah.
Right. Like all
Mhm.
the steps before a big trip. Those aren't fun in and of themselves, but if you stay
Mhm.
focused on why you're doing it, it can be a stress experience rather than just a stress experience, if you will. And I thought
100%.
today we could talk about something, and we do have, just letting you all know, we do have a heart out today because we have an interview right after. So just something that I wanted to talk about today, because I was watching a video where someone was encouraging people to take care of themselves. And one of the comments in the video was, that's so good that you're doing that for yourself. I'm not sure I can do that for me. And it's so interesting to
Hmm.
me how people can see it's good and they are like being grateful that other people can take it and yet still denying it for themselves. And so I just wanted to talk about an exercise that we do in our Harness the Power of Planning workshop, right? Which is the one that's happening in January. We help our students come up with affirmations that they write and say, and they're always around planning, right? Because that's what Harness the Power of Planning is all about. However, these are things that you can use in every part of your life. And there's so much brain science behind the power of writing things and saying things in order to help rewire your brain. And it takes a while to take effect because literally it's a physical thing that you're doing. You're literally changing the structure of your brain. And that takes as long as it takes. And maybe it takes less time for more people and more time for other people. But when you write, it helps to initiate and strengthen that changing. So, when we talk to our students, we have them write down affirmations around planning, like, I am a great planner, or, I find planning fun and it reduces stress, whatever the things are they want to say. But we understand that people sometimes have struggle with affirmations because they don't feel like a truth, right? It feels like you're lying to yourself or trying to trick
Mhm.
yourself. So
Right.
we have a tip for that, which is the following affirmation that everyone can say truthfully, which is, I am working on becoming a better planner every day, or I am becoming a better planner every day. Because while you
Right.
might not be able to say with a straight face, I'm a great planner, you can say that you're becoming better at it every day. And I
Right. And
feel
you
like,
can get behind that. You can get behind that statement, right? And so much of affirmations, it's not just giving it lip service, it's also trying to get into that feeling place of it, right? And so if you're going like, you know, I'm currently a millionaire, like, and you're not a millionaire, right? It's so maybe hard. You're going to have like these conflicting feelings while you're trying to say that and drum up that feeling. You're also having this feeling of, but I'm not, but I'm not, but I'm not.
right,
You can get behind though, I'm getting better every day, right? So
right.
you can get behind that idea. because maybe you're doing tiny little incremental changes, but those are the kind of changes that stick.
Yes.
Those small gradual changes over time are the things that stick. Lots of times those grandiose, I'm going to do a 180 and become like the healthiest person on the planet starting now, today, like that. We all know how long that lasts.
Yes.
We all know how well we do with that. And it's not, it doesn't bode well, right? These big grandiose changes. So tiny little increments and letting yourself know that you getting better every day at something, little by little is something you can get behind.
Yes.
It's true.
No, it's powerful. I'm a math nerd, and there's this wonderful meme that shows, right, 101% to the power of 365, meaning if you put in 1% effort for 365 days, you end up with this huge number. But if you do 99% effort for 365 days, you actually end up with this negative number. And, people say in nature, you're either growing or you're decaying. There's no stasis, right? You're either building muscle or you're losing muscle. You're either working on being less stressed or you're becoming more stressed. Like the neutral is, very hard to maintain, or it just can't be maintained. I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about that. However, but what I do know is that when I walk my dog every night, it doesn't feel like a lot. It's about 25 minutes, but I see the difference over time of what it does for my health. Versus if I don't walk my dog every night, I see the negative impact over time. They're both very visible. And so whatever it is you're working on, if you want to work on having more self-care, if you want to work on being healthy, if you want to work on eating better, a great affirmation. And I would encourage you to write it and to say it, because so we talk about doing things in our class that activate as much of your brain as possible. When you write something, you're activating one part of your brain. When you say something, you're activating another part of your brain. When you hear what you're saying, you're activating another part of your brain. And as you can probably imagine, the more of your brain that you activate, the more engaged you are, the more memorable it is, the more powerful it is. So whatever it is you're working on, I am becoming better at self-care every day. I am becoming healthier every day. I am drinking more water every day. Whatever, those little things will make a huge difference. And I pray and hope that person who was saying, good for you for taking care of yourself, I can't do it for myself. I hope that she embraces and learns that she deserves to take care of herself and that she can do it with little bits every day, because it makes me sad.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a common thing. You know what I mean? I think it's common for you to see not you, the general you, to see other people doing something that's good for them. And, getting stymied by thinking about like what a big leap it would be to suddenly be somebody who, whatever the activity was, like somebody who takes great care of their skin, or somebody who, is doing, some kind of exercise thing, or journaling or meditating or whatever, something we all know is good for us. Right. We all like, it's another cultural thing, I think too, in, at this current modern age where it's like, we all know what's good for us. We might not all do it. Right. And so there's like this kind of agreement as well around like, yeah, but that takes too much effort, or that's, like I couldn't possibly find the time to do that, and that kind of thing. But because you're looking at the end product, or you're looking at like the bigger picture, or like you're looking at the outward facing side of their habit, let's say. And we're not looking at the tiny little changes that had to be put in place prior to that happening.
Right.
And maybe that first little step is I take better and better care of myself every day, and if you start writing that, saying that, I love Mel Robbins. She has this, I don't know if it's in one of her books. I'm not really sure. I heard her on one of her podcasts where you're like, just look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself a high five every single day. Yeah. It sounds silly, right? But there's brain science behind that too. There's people done research about looking at yourself in the mirror giving yourself a high five for the day. She has other tips too, but that one I just really love because it literally takes a half a second to do it.
Right.
And it seems kind of funny and silly, but you do that to yourself every morning and you're just kind of like, I am rocking this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's another
No, that's a
like,
great one. Because it's kind of like if you're going to run a race, you don't just start running, right? It's like on your mark, get set, go. Like there's a whole process. And the high five is kind of like you're on your mark, like, okay.
Yeah.
And, we talk about that's your morning ritual too, right? Like your morning, like before I had a morning ritual, I used to wake up in the morning and not know what the first thing was that I was going to do. Literally, I didn't know. I'd be like, do I pee first? Do I drink some water first? Do I, change my clothes first? I don't know. I didn't know what to do. And I would get into that analysis paralysis of, and it was a very unsettling feeling. But now I wake up and I just go through my routine and it just all flows together so that I end up, at my desk ready to start the day. But it's interesting because I've told Natascha this and she saw it happen. This September, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was something in me or if it was something on the outside, but I messed up my schedule with a couple things. And it's funny because I'm usually really consistent with my notation in my planner. So it's very clear to me, like these days are blocked out because I'm doing something. And I just changed something because usually when I'm going out of town, I'll write it across the bottom. But I had already put in things that were pre-scheduled, like my daughter's activities and Natascha and I's time doing this. And so because that was taking up the bottom, I was like, oh, I'll just put it across the top, not thinking it was going to be a big issue. And it totally threw off my whole month because it was like, I totally forgot that I had those 2 days that I was supposed to be out of town. And fortunately, it was just for a personal retreat. So it didn't mess up anybody else. I didn't miss anything, if you will, but it kind of just messed up my whole month. And because of that, I did find myself a couple of times this month getting up in the morning and being like, what do I do first? I was like, what do you mean? What do you like? There was a moment where I had a conversation with myself. Like, what do you mean? What do you do first?
Yeah. And that's not something Allegra asks herself. Like Allegra's been doing a morning ritual for quite some time. Yeah. And here's the thing too, like what, if it's kind of loosey goosey, and we're definitely not suggesting that you be like, militant about it. We love to say we're not interested in turning you into productivity robots. It's about what you choose, first of all. But the thing is, like, if you get up and you're asking yourself, well, what do I do next? Or what do I do first? Or, like, should I go get a glass of water first? Or should I do this? These are all brain power things. This is all brain energy. This is all like, this is like making decisions. You make like thousands of decisions a day. Like, even if it doesn't feel like you do, what am I going to eat? Where am I going to get this? Like so many decisions, and your brain is constantly like, how can we make this more efficient? How can we make it so this is easier? And so when you've got a routine, that just helps eliminate a lot of decision fatigue. And so you don't have to think about the first 5 things you do in the morning, and you're just kind of like, oh, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this. And also, FYI, those 5 things are checked off your to-do list too.
Yes.
If you take your supplements, you're not at 4 PM going,
did I take my supplements?
Am I supposed to take my supplements? Did I take them already?
Right.
Right. So you're saving. I'm sorry. I'm like shedding on my face as we're speaking.
Well, and the other thing too, and this is why I don't have a copy of the Rock Your Morning book, because we updated the Rock Your Morning book, making this very similar point, which is that an unexpected benefit of having a morning ritual is just this freeing up of mental energy and just this ability to focus on things that are more important than what's the first thing I do in the morning? Because, it really doesn't matter if I go to the bathroom first or drink some water first. Like, they both need to happen. Right. Which one I do first? Like, that is just a waste of mental energy. And so it just reinforced for me, like, how beneficial it is to just have the habit of a morning ritual. And It's also reinforcing for me to be, consistent with my notation in my planner, because that little blip turned into a big,
Yeah.
it took me
Right.
2
And
weeks
so
to
you've
recover
learned
from that blip.
right? You've learned that because like your brain is so efficiently going, oh, I just always look at the bottom to see whatever I
I'm
would see
trained.
if this is blocked out, right? So
Yep.
your brain is making that shortcut, and it wouldn't backfire on you, but like I guess you didn't know how
I didn't know how
attuned
powerful it was.
to that.
I didn't think it was that big a deal, and I needed the other information, right? So I kept it there.
Right.
And then I was like, oh,
Right.
and then for 2 weeks it was just like random blah.
Yeah, I talked about in our monthly recap, course correct this past Sunday, about how just sometimes September is just, you know what I mean? You're gonna
Starting
cut
back
your
up
losses
with
in
things.
September. It's like that the transition from summertime to fall time and back to school time and all that stuff. It's kind of like my kids are like on their 8th week of school right now. So they've been in school for like 2 months, and I'm just now going like, okay, I feel like we're settling into a groove, right? It takes some time, you know?
It takes some time. But I also just want to point out, like, I'm grateful for this experience because it just reinforces for me how powerful it is, right? We say consistent notation is important. And this one time I wasn't consistent with my notation and it totally messed everything up. So, it was just a good, like, hopefully it'll keep me from doing it in the future, bigger mistake, but also having those mornings where I thought to myself, what do I do first? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you do first? Like, I hadn't thought
that does not sound like you at all.
I hadn't thought that in so long. Yeah, I hadn't thought that in so long that I was like, oh, I forgot that I even used to do that. Not know what I was going to do first thing in the morning. So yeah. And by the way, if a morning ritual sounds to you because you're not a morning person, we do talk about a nighttime ritual. If that sounds more palatable there, then start there. That's great, because your evening sets you up for your morning. So
yeah, I was going to say, spoiler alert, what you do the night before often will help you like support your morning ritual by having an evening ritual. That's the spoiler alert there too. But if, if the morning thing is like, and again, we're also not suggesting you get up like an hour early to get this done either.
No. In fact, the opposite. Like, you need to start with, maybe you just start with drinking a glass of water. That's your morning ritual. You did not have to get up even 1 minute earlier. Right. So, so just a reminder as we wrap up, because Natasha and I have to head out for another interview. Rock Your Holidays. The ebook is 99 cents. The paperback workbook makes a great gift for that person who has everything, or hey, for yourself, help us get it to number 1. It's like, it was hovering around the 50s for a while. So we'd love to get that up to number 1.
Yeah.
And if you hang around, the coupon code for Harness the Power Planning that gets you like almost 50% off is Red Hot 2024. Coming in, Red Hot 2024. We'd love to have you join us in January for, getting your new year off.
Yeah, seriously. It's going to be epic. And we're always giving the very latest and greatest when it comes to that course, when it comes to Harness the Power of Planning. It's all about you getting like the absolute most that you possibly can, about figuring out what your goals are, and then giving you an executable plan to achieve those goals.
Yeah. And we know it's hard to get through the process of planning for your year. That's why we're going to do it together. So you don't have to be fully responsible for it. We will help you.
And and that hive mind thing too. It's always great to have, multiple minds together collaborating, and you'll hear things that maybe you wouldn't have thought of in your own little bubble.
Yes. So thank you so much. And we'll see you next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.
Bye.